The bell rang for fourth period, signaling the start of another class. History, my least favorite subject. The minutes seemed to drag on forever as I sat there trying to stay awake. As soon as the bell rang, I grabbed my books and hurried down the crowded hallway, eager to get to my next class. Laughter and chatter filled the air, a familiar soundtrack to our daily routine. It was just another ordinary day at Westside High, or so I thought. The sun was shining, and everything seemed normal. Suddenly, a loud pop echoed through the hallway, breaking the usual noise. It sounded like a balloon bursting, but louder, sharper. I stopped in my tracks, confused and trying to make sense of it. Then came another pop, and another. Screams erupted around me. Terror filled the air as students began to run. This was no balloon. It was gunshots. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing the fear that gripped me. My mind struggled to process what was happening. This couldn't be real. It felt like a bad dream. It was like a scene from a movie, a nightmare unfolding before my eyes. But it was happening. Here. Now. The reality of the situation was sinking in, and it was terrifying. Panic seized the hallway. Students scattered, running for their lives. Some screamed, others cried. The air crackled with fear and confusion. I stood frozen, paralyzed by terror. A stampede of bodies surged past me. I was knocked to the ground. People ran over me, their faces contorted in fear. I scrambled to my feet, desperate to escape the chaos. Gunshots continued to ring out. Each shot pierced the air, sending chills down my spine. The smell of gunpowder filled my nostrils, choking me. I had to get out. I had to survive. I stumbled down the hallway, my legs heavy with fear. I ducked into the first open classroom I could find. It was empty. The students and teacher were gone. I crouched behind the teacher's desk, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Tears streamed down my face. I pressed my hand against my mouth, trying to stifle my sobs. I didn't want to make a sound. I didn't want to be found. The gunshots seemed closer now, just outside the door. My heart threatened to beat out of my chest. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for it to be over, praying to be safe.
Minutes stretched into an eternity. The gunshots finally stopped. The chaos that had erupted so suddenly now gave way to an eerie stillness. Silence descended upon the school. A heavy, unsettling silence. It was as if the building itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next moment to unfold. I slowly peeked out from behind the desk, my eyes scanning the room for any sign of danger. The fear was still palpable, gripping my every sense. The classroom door creaked open, the sound echoing through the silence like a thunderclap. I held my breath, my heart pounding in my ears. Each beat felt like a drum, loud and insistent. A police officer stood in the doorway, his presence both reassuring and surreal. He was armed and wearing a bulletproof vest, a symbol of protection in this moment of vulnerability. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now. Come with me." His words were a lifeline, pulling me from the depths of my fear. I rose to my feet, my legs shaky, feeling as if they might give way beneath me. I followed the officer out of the classroom and into the hallway, each step feeling like a monumental effort. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder and the stench of fear. It clung to everything, a grim reminder of what had transpired. The hallway was littered with debris, backpacks, books, shattered glass. Each item told a story of panic and desperation, of lives interrupted in the most violent way. As we made our way through the chaos, I saw other students being guided out, their faces mirroring my own shock and relief. Outside, parents waited anxiously, their eyes scanning for their children. A glimmer of hope amidst the darkness.
Section 5. The Aftermath. I emerged from the school building into the bright sunlight. It felt surreal, like stepping into another world. A world where gunshots didn't echo through school hallways. Emergency vehicles surrounded the building. Sirens wailed. The air buzzed with the chatter of police officers and paramedics. Parents frantically searched for their children, their faces etched with worry and fear. I was ushered toward a group of students huddled together on the grass. We sat there in stunned silence. Some cried, others stared blankly ahead. We were all in shock, trying to comprehend the incomprehensible. The days that followed were a blur. I went through the motions of life, eating, sleeping, breathing, but I wasn't really living. I was merely existing, haunted by the memories of that day. The nightmares started almost immediately, the sound of gunshots echoing in my dreams, the feeling of being hunted, the terror that gripped me. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart racing. I couldn't escape the trauma. It followed me everywhere, to school, to the mall, to the movies. Every loud noise sent me into a panic. Every crowded place filled me with dread. Therapy helped, talking about the experience, sharing my fears, learning to cope with the trauma. It was a long and difficult journey, but I was determined to heal. I found solace in connecting with other survivors, sharing our stories, supporting each other. We were all bound by this shared experience, this collective trauma. We realized that our voices mattered, that we had a story to tell, a story that needed to be heard. We began to speak out, to raise awareness, to demand change. We cannot allow this to continue. The time for complacency is over. We must rise and take action against the epidemic of gun violence that plagues our society. We cannot accept school shootings as the new normal. Our children deserve to feel safe in their classrooms, not to live in fear of the next tragedy. We must stand together to make our voices heard. We must demand better security measures in our schools. This includes not only physical security, but also comprehensive safety protocols that protect our students and staff. We must address the root causes of gun violence. This means looking at the societal, economic, and psychological factors that contribute to this crisis. Only by understanding these root causes can we hope to find lasting solutions. We need stricter gun control laws. Common sense regulations can prevent firearms from falling into the wrong hands. We must advocate for policies that prioritize the safety of our communities. We need to invest in mental health resources. Mental health support is crucial in preventing violence and helping those in need. Schools should have access to counselors and programs that promote mental well-being. We need to create a culture of safety and respect in our schools. This involves teaching empathy, conflict resolution, and the importance of community. Every student should feel valued and heard. We need to listen to our children, to believe them, to protect them. Their voices are powerful, and their concerns are valid. We must ensure they know they are not alone. Our children deserve to feel safe in their schools. They should be able to focus on learning and growing, not on survival. Safety is a fundamental right that we must guarantee. They deserve to learn and grow without fear. Education should be a journey of discovery and joy, not overshadowed by the threat of violence. We must protect this sacred space. They deserve a future free from gun violence, a future where their dreams can flourish without the shadow of fear. We owe it to them to build a safer world. We owe it to them to do everything in our power to make that future a reality. Together, we can create a world where safety, respect, and peace are the norms. Let us act now, for the sake of our children and generations to come. The scars of that day will never fully heal. The memories will always be with me, but I refuse to let them define me. I will not live in fear. I will honor the memory of those we lost by fighting for a better future. A future where school shootings are a relic of the past. A future where our children can learn and grow in peace. We must never forget the victims. We must never forget the terror. We must never stop fighting for change. We must never again allow this to happen. Never again.